Many thanks to Jerb, Jaren, DayZ Podcast, Tag West, and That One Random for making this video possible. Weapon attachments have seen major changes in patch 1.13, such as being able to make your weapon 100% accurate with an optic, or how about reducing your sway pattern by 50% with just one attachment for your weapon. So in this video we're going to look at the rebalanced attachment stats to determine which ones are best now, to ultimately find the best weapon loadouts for each of the weapons in DayZ. Beginning with the best optic or sight in DayZ, this will be down to personal preference, as all optics increase your accuracy the same amount and all sights increase your accuracy the same amount. Here are all the optics in DayZ and here are all the sights. Based on these stats, optics are clear winners for providing twice the accuracy bonus, increased magnification and increased zeroing distance, so going for an optic for most weapons is a very easy choice in DayZ. But if you are clearing a building in first person, for example, a sight might give you much better field of vision over an optic at the cost of not getting this accuracy bonus, and this accuracy bonus, it can make the difference. This means the best optics in DayZ are optics that provide the accuracy, zoom and zeroing stats of an optic, while giving you the choice of using a sight for increased field of view in CQB, such as the newly added x6 ACOG optic. But at the end of the day, it is best to go for the optic or sight that you're most comfortable with, or you can simply swap to another optic or sight based on your situation. The best muzzles, as you've probably guessed already, are suppressors. The noise reduction down to 150 meters with all weapons that you attach the suppressor to, any suppressor, is just way too OP compared to the compensators and the bayonets. In addition, you get an accuracy increase and slightly reduced recoil, but are given a penalty of 30% extra sway, which again is well worth the punishment if you consider how strong suppressors are in DayZ. Finally, for muzzles, for anybody interested, the bayonets do a lot more damage than a regular attack with the butt of your weapon when you have a weapon in your hands. So a regular attack does 10 health and 15 shock damage, where with the bayonet it's 40 health and 50 shock damage with a high chance to cause bleeding, but if you hit them in the head, it's a one-hit kill with the bayonet. Now, if the bayonet was very effective against alerted infected, I would probably use it more, but we have seen improvements this patch with how you can stealth kill with the bayonet attached to a weapon, which is a very good step in the right direction, and I'm sure will convert some players over to using a bayonet to clear out towns silently. Nonetheless, suppressors are the king of muzzle attachments for several reasons. Moving on to handguards and buttstocks now, we're going to be doing these together, as this is where the real customization for your weapon comes in, especially in this patch, because you can lean towards a more reduced recoil build or a reduced sway pattern build, with the reduced recoil loadout best for close quarters and the reduced sway loadout best for long range combat. But who's to say we can't have both setups in our inventory, switching out handguards and buttstocks depending on our situation. Now, a feature that makes finding these different attachments more difficult in 1.13 is how weapons spawn with basic attachments now, which means the M4 will only spawn with the telescopic buttstock and polymer handguard, where the AK variants tend to spawn with their corresponding weapon attachments. For example, the AK-74 spawns with AK-74 parts, the AK-101 spawning with polymer parts, and the AKM spawning with AK wooden parts. Which means you'll need to hunt down these attachments to customize your loadouts. With that said, let's start with the M4 to create a reduced recoil build and a reduced sway build. The M4 spawns with, like I said, the telescopic buttstock and the polymer handguard, which aren't bad at all, 40% reduced recoil and 60% reduced sway in total. So if we test the recoil pattern with these two standard attachments attached, you get a line that looks like this, whereas if we switch to the best handguard and best buttstock for reducing recoil, seen on the left here, you can see that the recoil pattern has traveled 20% less. It's 20% less because the difference between these two attachments is 20%. These have 60% in total, these have 40% in total. And if you didn't know, I've placed these stats conveniently for you on the WOBO website attachment info tool for all of the attachments in DayZ. Back to recoil comparisons, we're going to attach the best sway reducing attachments to the M4 now, which is the MP handguard and MP buttstock, apparently giving a total of 100% sway reduction, but has the worst recoil reducing stats, as you're about to see. This is 20% more recoil than the standard attachments that come with the M4 and 40% more recoil than the best recoil reducing attachments that can attach to the M4, so it really does matter which handguard and buttstock you have on your M4 when there's a giant 40% gap between the best and the worst attachments. On the flip side, the best recoil reducing attachments also have the worst sway reducing stats on them, as seen here from these sway pattern tests. So this is the M4 with the standard attachments that it comes with, totaling a 60% reduction in sway, where this is the best recoil reducing attachment, totaling a 20% reduction in sway, and finally the best sway reducing attachments, the MP parts like I said earlier, with 100% reduction in sway. Sadly, we don't know enough about sway patterns to know why these attachments total 100%, but this weapon still has sway, but I'm sure we'll find out in a future video. What all of this recoil and sway testing concludes is that if you want the best recoil reduction, you have to sacrifice sway, and if you want the best sway reduction attachments, you have to sacrifice recoil. Now I really like this idea because you focus on sway if you want long distance sniping, which is very possible with the ×6 ACOG now, but reducing recoil will help you in close quarters combat, so you have to choose what type of build you want based on your preferences and your situation. This adds another layer on top of the quest to get the gear that you want, as customizing attachments might just give you the edge in a combat situation. Moving on to the AK variants for the best loadouts, the AKM spawns as standard with the best recoil reducing attachments, the AK wooden handguard and buttstock, which FYI is different to the AK-74 wooden handguard and buttstock which spawns on the AK-74. Anyway, here is a recoil of the best recoil reducing attachments for the AKM, AK-74, AKS-74U and AK-101, with all of them having the same amount of recoil. So for all of these weapons, these are the best two attachments to reduce recoil, and for all of these weapons, these are the best two attachments to reduce sway. So like the M4, the AKs have a 40% difference in recoil between the best recoil reducing attachments and the best sway reducing attachments. Similar to the M4, the AK variants have a large amount of sway with the recoil reducing attachments, where with the sway reducing attachments it's much easier to control the AK variants. There is a very noticeable difference at play here, as you can see. As for the LAR, otherwise known as the FN FAL, you can switch the buttstock to one of two buttstocks for this weapon. The one it spawns with as standard is the polymer buttstock, which is best for recoil reduction, where the folding buttstock is 20% better at reducing sway at the cost of 10% less recoil reduction. Another weapon that can be customized slightly is the MP5 or SG5K, because you can have the handguard that spawns as standard with the MP5, the polymer handguard, which is the best at reducing sway, or the rail handguard, which is the best at reducing recoil. With the FAL and the MP5, you're not looking at much of a noticeable difference here, but with the M4 and the AK variants, you will certainly feel the differences among the different attachments. If you want to learn more about attachments, you can do so on the attachment info tool on the WOBO website, link in the description, and I'm sure the devs are looking for some feedback on the stats they've given these attachments. This is a huge change for DayZ. I can imagine these stats will be adjusted in future patches based on how the community responds to these changes. Thank you very much for watching and have a good day.